Right back to get you on the right side, not the wrong side. It's the Boss and the Sauce Show. And we got my man Wham OG rolling with us today. And we're going over the Mid-American Conference College Football Preview 2019 right now. Whoa, look out, Western Michigan Broncos right here in the MAC Conference. Let's get into the preview on this team. Now, coming off a 7-6 season, 5-3 in the conference. Here you go, a third-year coach right back at the top spot right here. He's getting 7 on offense, 7 on defense. Have it your way like Burger King right here. This year, he gets back quarterback, running back, wide receiver trio. He also has a nice tight end in there, which the tight end game in the MAC is kind of so-so. He may be able to step over, popping that ball over the middle to the tight end sometime in this MAC. And that's how they score a lot of points. This team last year, they averaged 32 points a game, 237 in the air, 199 on the ground. Very offensive impacted team. This dude's going to take them back again with a seasoned quarterback right here. Looking all good for the Western Michigan Broncos this year, if you ask me. I kind of like the look right here. They bring in a top newcomer, defensive line, Will McCabe. McCabe got the taste of action last season, including the bowl game against BYU. So here we go. And this is a big thing we need to talk about a little further on in the season here about all these players with the new rule now. You can get a little experience the year ahead, and then you can still keep your status and come out the next year. Now, that could be working in a lot of ways because you're going to have a lot of true freshmen and stuff that's sitting on the bench just edging to get in the game just to get a little experience, and they might do well. Who knows? But that's a variable that we like in the sports betting world right here. I like that. So this team right here, I think they have a promising thing on offense. Going to definitely have to plug some holes on defense to make it happen. But they draw a tough schedule right here. Out of conference, they're playing Monmouth at Michigan State, Georgia State at Syracuse. In conference, they still have to play Toledo, Miami, Ohio, and Northern Illinois. They got about 3 or 4 for sure games in the conference, and maybe 2 or 3 of the outside the conference game, and probably be looking at another 7-6 season. And next year will be the year when the coach finally gets all his true recruits in. He's going to get some seasoned players, and they may do a lot better in 2020 than 2019. But what's your take on that, Wham?
Yeah, man, I'm feeling the same way. I feel like their schedule, though, is some teams that they actually can beat, though. I feel like they're enough equipped to beat this team. Tim Lester is not that bad of a coach. He could get the job done in this case, and they do have enough coming back on offense and defense in order to be able to execute and beat certain teams like Syracuse. Rather, I feel like they can possibly win that game, but that's one of those games that can end or break their season. In this case, they all have pretty cupcake games at home, though. They have all cupcake games at home, in my opinion. All their road games is what's going to make or break, in my opinion. So I feel like if they can win some of these road games, they'll be able to take, the West by storm and possibly come out and win the West.
I like that.
Yeah, Wham. Yep, I agree with Wham. I think the problem, not a problem, but the difficulty of this team schedule is probably going to be the only thing that's going to hold them back from maybe taking the West division of the MAC. They do employ a pretty good offense. They do have the one of the top scoring offense. It ranks 4th overall, and they got really good receivers. They got senior quarterback. They got good running backs. The Achilles heel to this team, though, is their defense. Kind of like Toledo, but not as bad. They do lead. They have a guy named Ali Farrard who leads the team in sacks, like 6.5 sacks. And he's like the leader in the conference. They do have room for improvement overall. And, going forward, the schedule, like I say, it might be the toughest hurdle for this team to overcome. What do you think, Wham?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just all really backed up on the road games, and all their road games. That's when their toughest competition is, and it's hard to beat tough competition on their home turf. But if you can't change that, they're 2 games away from winning those 2 games on the road to being a really good team. So I feel like if they win those 2 games on the road, especially a couple of those one of those non-conference games, it'll be really good for them for the next couple of years. So we'll be able to know by week 5 if they're going to have that much of a great season from what they already did in by week 5. What you think, boss?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you off top. At Michigan State, forget about it. At Syracuse, forget about it. Especially with the Qs. The Qs not playing over there on the turf. Not this year. Not next year. Not none of the years. So the schedule will hinder them in that, but it maybe make them tougher in the long run, so they can compete against Toledo and who else they have to see? Ohio and Northern Illinois. That kind of those type of early games can build that type of toughness that you can get through some of those conference game. Increase in the conference record by 1 or 2, it looks great for them overall. And I definitely see them making it back to a bowl game this year. 7-6 is nice, but if they get a little tough, they may get 8 or 9 wins. I don't know, but I kind of like what they're doing over there. I love third-year coaches, fourth-year coaches that really got they knee deep into the team right there, and they pulling out some of their best stuff, or they just bombs in the way. But this team falls right in the category with Toledo as far as the overs. I'm liking the overs in this team. If you look at the totals from last year, um, at Miami, Ohio, 40-39, Georgia State, 34-15, Delaware State, 68-0, Syracuse, 42-55. I mean, this kind of stuff we like in the MAC.
Damn.
We want to get those points in there. So definitely high-powered offensive team who lets the defense hang around a little bit. The defense can step up, play a little better, tighten up the game. I think they were giving up, 34 points a game, but only 386 yards. That's not that bad. But they definitely have to come down on the points a game part of it. But the total offense, the total yards they're giving up on defense at 386 is not bad. It's actually ranked 57th in all of college football. But defense is it's just like a lot of teams in the MAC. Defense holds the key to success. This team looks past defense and goes straight into scoring the ball. If they take a little time and address those defensive issues, they may have something going on over here. I like this team. I like their toughness. I like their presence on the field, and we'll be keeping an eye out on this Western Michigan team. Any other words on this one?
Yeah.
No, I
Just
like the way you. My fault, Big
go
Record. I
ahead.
like
No,
the
we
way you
got the
broke down
delay.
those over and unders. Yeah, that over for the conference games for Western Michigan is at 6-2. They hit the over 75%, my G, and also as an underdog, they're 4-1. So that's a real good look. And if you see them as an underdog at home, that over is 3-0. So I mean that's probably a small sample size, but a lot of those other ones for the conference games when they're playing the MAC, those games probably do go over. Like we look at Toledo, like you said, boss. That's a good look, man. I appreciate that, bro.
That's what's up. Any last words, Big Ragu?
Yeah, this league to me sets kind of like a junior version of the Big 12 because you got some teams that can play defense, but the majority of offensive ridden teams that like to go out and air it out. And in this case, maybe not so much airing it, but just creating a lot of plays with their feet and quarterback play. So, 2 words for you combined into one: Mac action, baby.
There you go there. You heard it first right here on the Boss in the Sauce. That's going to sum it up for us on the Mid-American Conference College Football 2019 preview right here on the Boss in the Sauce show. Let's go ahead. Y'all ready to wrap this thing up? Let's get into the wrap-up show.